I believe it's the everyday change maker, people like you and me, who have the power to make real meaningful change one small step at a time. Hi, I'm Linda Mackey, and I'm a personal brand photographer and coach, helping entrepreneurs to breathe life into their image, passion, and purpose. And this is the Eloquent Entrepreneur podcast, where I chat with my clients and change makers alike from across Canada and beyond about the work they do, the stories that have shaped them, and the impact that they're making, all to inspire and motivate others to do the same. Because making a difference just starts with showing up, and these conversations remind us just how empowering that can be. So welcome to the show and enjoy. Hi everyone, it's Linda Mackey here of Linda Mackey Creative and the Eloquent Entrepreneur, conversations with everyday change makers. And today I'm joined by leadership coach and founder of Inspired Results Group, Diane Lloyd. Diane has helped hundreds of clients, from senior executives to purpose-driven entrepreneurs, to discover their true leadership style and connect to their inner wisdom and lead with courage and heart. She's also the visionary behind an exciting upcoming rebrand focused on supporting midlife women who are redefining their purpose. And her work blends the deep reflection of coaching with the clarity and forward momentum of business strategy. And she's also a recent photography client, and I'm very excited about our conversation today because she's somebody that I really admire for her integrity and the depth of what she brings to her work and her clients. So welcome, Diane, to the show.
Thank you, Linda. That really touched me. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the conversation. And having interaction with you that isn't with a camera in between us. So looking forward to this.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it just seemed apparent when we were shooting. I'm like, oh my gosh, you are going to be an amazing person to interview. And so I thought we better do it sooner than later. So let's start right where you are. We know a little bit about you with your bio, but we want to, I think our viewers really like to, get to know the real version of people that I interview, because they want to get to the heart of, how they're running their business and, how everything's, making an impact. So let's talk about where your work is right now. What is it all about? What's lighting you up right now?
It's a timely question. I think of myself as a coach entrepreneur. And so there's different aspects to that. So for the last 13 years, I've been, really leading my own business, and coaching is something I'm really passionate about. That's the thing that lights me up. And I feel like, especially right now, leadership is so important. We need more authentic leadership, more human-centered leadership. And so the last 13 years has really been about bringing a human-centered leadership approach to my clients and to organizations and teams. And that's looked like lots of different things over the years. And now I'm really kind of doubling down on women. And I really believe that women over 40 are so full of potential as leaders. And I think they're the ones that will solve the complex problems in our world. And they need to be supported and kind of unleashed in a unique way. So that's where I'm kind of excited to play. And support.
Yeah, right. I completely agree. I'm just curious to, was there a particular event or incident, or what sparked this particular interest in women in midlife?
Probably my own journey through midlife is what, really got me reflecting in hindsight. Like, I'm in my late 50s and looking back sort of mid 40s, late 40s, early 50s, and recognizing there's a lot that goes on for women through that phase of life, a lot of health transitions, the menopause transition, launching kids, supporting aging parents. I feel like we've got all of these roles that we play.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's kind of overwhelming, but we're not talking about that. Yeah, know too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And then running businesses like on the side of all of that other stuff. And I feel like we don't, in the leadership context, we don't acknowledge that as women, and we don't bring that into the workplace or into a leadership context. So I want to do that for women.
Yeah, I can relate. I think we ourselves take that for granted. And then
Yeah.
it becomes overwhelming. And I think, people in our lives also take that for granted. So we really need to pay more attention and acknowledge all the different roles and, the different directions we're being pulled in all the time.
Yeah.
And how well we are capable of doing that. So yeah, that's
Yes.
amazing. And I'm really excited, yeah, to see the how things evolve for you in this realm
Yeah.
of
So am I. Yeah.
coaching. All right, so let's go back a little bit because you said you've been coaching for quite a long time, about 13 years now. I mean, how did this path begin for you? Like, what made you want to become a coach and an entrepreneur?
Mm-hmm. Well, when I was in my teens and early 20s, I was coaching synchronized swimming in the 80s at the time. And I
Oh,
went to
cool.
Australia to coach. I was so brave when I was like 19, 20. I'm
Oh,
like, sure, I'm going to go to
I
Australia
know.
and I'm
We're
going to
like, oh my God, I
coach.
can't believe I did that.
Yeah, yeah. I was so brave. And I got there and I told the parents they couldn't come to practice because I found them very distracting. And I just, was very brave and bold at that stage. And so I had a great experience there for a couple of years, but then came back to Canada and thought, I think I should go back to university. And so ended up working in sport. And then my career evolved into fundraising and raising revenue. And then we moved out to BC. So I grew up in Manitoba. We moved out to BC. And then I was working in a job and met this woman who said she was a leadership coach. And I was like, what is that? A leadership coach? And I didn't
Yeah.
know it existed. So I hired her to work with me because I was on an executive team at the time as a leader. And I didn't see anybody around me leading in a way that I wanted to lead. And so working with
Mm.
Terrell, my first coach, really helped me figure out how I wanted to lead with my values, my strengths. And that was a really amazing experience. And through those 2 years, I did become more confident as a leader, I would say. And really, I feel like I made an impact in that organization. But I also started to hear this voice that was like, this is not actually how you're meant to contribute to the world, Diane. Like you need to be brave again. And so I decided to pursue professional coaching and get trained, and
Mhm.
walked away from a career that had all the things I was told were important, like a good salary, solid pension at the end of the line, sort of status in the community. And walked away from all of that to kind of leap into this profession of leadership coaching. So I went to Royal Roads and trained there. And then, I'm really glad I didn't know at the time that the success rate for coach entrepreneurs is actually quite low. So it's been a huge learning to, like, you follow this because you're passionate about coaching, and then you realize, and I know the entrepreneurial
Mhm.
journey is a whole different journey. So learning how to coach and learning how to be an entrepreneur have been two different sets of learning, but super important to be able to run a business and make a living doing
Oh,
this.
exactly. Yeah, there's so many nuances and things that you don't realize that you um, need to learn or have learned or that you implement in your business that maybe weren't necessarily taught in your training, but it just kind of becomes intertwined with your own wisdom, I feel. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that's amazing. And so glad you've got to, I mean, it's always evolving, right? So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's what I've learned, because I think I thought initially, oh, I'll figure this out in the first year and then away I go and it'll be the same forever. And it's not. Like, it's changed over and over and over again. So I'm sure we'll get into that constant reinvention and evolution of a
Oh,
business.
exactly. I never dreamed that I'd be a podcast host or doing,
Yeah.
I'm doing other things besides photography, but it's all related, which is really
Yeah.
cool. So, and that's obviously what you're doing with all the things that you're doing, which we'll be talking more about. So, so in terms of like how you or who you help, I mean, your primary focus, you said, is women in midlife.
Mm-hmm.
Do you coach other people as well? And, what kind of transformation do they experience when they work with you?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I do work with men. I love my male clients, which is partly why I think I've resisted this focus on women, because the amazing open-hearted men I work with, I really value them, especially for how they show up in their organizations. So very open-heartedly. So now, though, I do want to speak more clearly to midlife women, because this theme of losing confidence in midlife started to show up in a lot of facilitation and workshops that I was delivering.
Right.
I've been really fortunate I trained with Brene Brown in 2019. So I've delivered her curriculum for 5 years.
I love her. Yeah.
I know.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
I've been
I
quoting
learned
her
a lot.
Yeah. I've been quoting
Are
her
you?
a few lately. The last couple of Instagram posts have been like quotes by her. One, thing that really is my common thread, I guess you could say, and like the work that I do, is that I want people to feel seen, but also there's the confidence piece too. And so you were saying that was that the common thread that you found like a lot as a driving force in working with midlife women? Because the reason I asked that is because when I said, oh, I can't, when you said you were in Australia and you did all the swimming stuff, it's like, yeah, oh my God, I can't believe I did all that. Because that's how I feel sometimes. I look back on all the things that I've done and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that, and I feel like as we enter into midlife and menopause and all that, there is a bit of a loss of confidence. Like, can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. And I am curious about this lack of confidence theme, because it's so counterintuitive to, we've got all this experience. We've learned so much.
I know. It's like, why?
Why, right? We should be fully stepping into our full power and potential. And yet we get wobbly, I think,
that's
sometimes
right.
Through that phase. And I think it's a few things. I'm going to definitely be looking into this more, but my sense of it, and certainly from my experience through perimenopause, I had no idea that's actually what was happening to me, but I felt, very disconnected from myself. I felt overwhelmed, tired. I felt like I don't know who I am anymore. I don't even feel like I was in my own body anymore. So that was all through the pandemic. I was like, my business grew exponentially. I was showing up on Zoom all day, every day for other people, but I was kind of suffering in silence with this journey. So I think this is why I'm excited to bring the conversation into leadership, because if we can support women and educate them, like, this is actually what you're experiencing, get the support from health practitioners is sort of one piece of it, but then also let them know, we don't need to do it alone. We're not falling apart. There's nothing wrong with us. We're just going through this transition. So I think that contributes a lot to the loss of confidence. And I was coaching someone yesterday and she's like, my brain is just not firing right now. And I don't feel like I'm
I can relate to that
myself, right? Yeah. Losing words. And that erodes our confidence. So I think it's a bunch of things. Plus we're just tired and overwhelmed with all of these roles we play. So I feel like this phase of life can be the pick our heads up and actually ask ourselves, like, who am I now? I think that brave 20-year-old is still inside me, and I want to reconnect to her and bring her forward now. But I got, decades of disconnection from that version of myself. So I think it's a really exciting time to come back to ourselves, and we need to commit to spending the time to do that rediscovery. And so that's the work I want to do, is helping women rediscover, reconnect to the truest version of themselves.
This is great that you're talking about this, because I talk about this a lot with a lot of my girlfriends. Everyone has the same. It's like, oh my God, I can't, I just can't seem to focus, or I'm just so exhausted. Everything's so exhausting and overwhelming, and but yet we have this innate wisdom and experience and expertise that we've cultivated over decades, right? And then it's like, why can't I implement or execute this stuff, because, I'm overwhelmed, I'm tired, or, can you talk about maybe one or two clients that have really kind of, transformed, I guess, and what that looks like?
I think I've got so many people pinging around in my head right now. I just launched a program called the Inspiring Midlife Leadership Program, and it's a 12-week group coaching program with some curriculum and content. And so I'm debriefing with all the participants on exactly that. Like, what was the shift this program created for you? What have you learned about yourself? And a big part of it is what we've just discussed. Overwhelmingly, they've said to me, I feel like I can own my strengths now, really embrace who I am, and recognize, oh, not everybody has those strengths. So we're all unique, but we tend to compare ourselves. I think women are, I'm sure men do it too, but I feel like women are kind of socialized to compare themselves to other women. And
for sure.
in this work, it's like, no, we don't want to compare. We don't actually want to. We just somehow are conditioned to. So if we stop comparing and just actually embrace our uniqueness and operate our lives and show up at work in our own unique strengths. So I sense this transformation of freedom to be ourselves and really owning that and feeling confident from that place. It's not a false confidence. It's like I think of it as an alignment confidence for women.
Exactly. Yeah. And that totally ties in. I mean, I don't know where all this is coming from, but maybe it's just stuff that I'm going through in my own life. But it was like, I did a post yesterday. It was like, just letting people know that you're not too much. Your voice, your wants, your needs, your talent, because a lot of, I don't know, I mean, women tend to be people pleasers. And I know I definitely have to, but it's like,
you're talking to one, absolutely.
Yeah. But in that process, you kind of, because you don't want to take up too much space. You don't want to put too much attention on you, and you don't want to, so you kind of dim your own light, your own uniqueness, your own, confidence and everything, so that other people can shine more. And so that was kind of what that was about. So this kind of ties into what you're talking about, which we need to revert. We got to shift that. We've got to like you said, own your strengths, and really, because then it inspires other people, right? So
it does. Yeah.
And it helps you to actually, do the things that you say you want to do, or what impact you want to make, at the end of the day. So,
and there's too much of that, I think, good girl syndrome. And I definitely played by that playbook my whole life. Be good, be small, don't take up too much space. And so we need to deprogram ourselves from that's actually not serving us, and it's not serving the world if we're not, using our full capacity as humans everywhere, at work and in our communities and in our families. So we need to untether from that good girl, play small conditioning.
Exactly. I mean, learn that young. I mean, I always go back to the story of that, when I was little. I mean, I was very loud and boisterous and opinionated and, whatever. But I was, constantly being told, oh, just, be quiet, don't be too loud, kind of just. And I really took that to heart. So I kind of almost went the opposite direction, and my nickname in high school was Mouse, because I was so quiet. I just, because I kept getting this messaging that you've got to just be quiet.
Our families of origin don't intend to put these limitations on us. But I know I was often labeled like really independent. But then I think when they didn't like that behavior, it was, oh, you're really selfish. So I've carried around this selfish story my whole adult life until this is part of the work I love doing, is actually helping women identify these limiting beliefs they're carrying around, and then really challenge them and let them go, reframe them. And when I was, able to interrogate that belief or that identity, was like, actually, I don't think that's true as an adult. Like, no, I don't think, maybe it was never true, but it's so like be quiet, be mouse, it just doesn't serve us. But these messages get embedded in our brains, and we end up growing up and becoming adults carrying around these little gremlins, I call them.
And that's kind of what's brought me to the work I do. I mean, it just becomes part of my coaching because of that. I want other people, not just women, but like, like use your voice, express yourself in front of the camera and like, shine your light. It's kind of just it naturally evolved into part of what I do and why my photography, I guess, resonates with people. Authenticity does come through with the help of just, I don't know, just me and my calmness and my direction and just, all that stuff.
It is, as I said, it's a vulnerable experience. It's
Yes.
uncomfortable, and you make it fun. And then you get to look at these images and you're like, wow, like
That's me.
you see yourself in that and the expressions. Yeah.
Mm,
It actually becomes such a joyful experience, but it's a bit
yeah,
daunting coming in. So you're
it
really,
is.
really uniquely talented in what you do, Linda.
Being a coach is not easy. And because you're
Mm.
dealing with all sorts of people and personalities and, problems and kind of limiting beliefs and everything. And how would you, as an entrepreneur, like, what would you say are your biggest challenges in the work that you do and how do you work through them?
Thankfully, learning is one of my favorite things. So I'm always learning, again, learning about coaching and leadership development because that's the work I do. But then you also have to learn, I do anyway, learn about marketing, learn about business operations and systems and technology. And now, how do we use AI as an entrepreneur? So I think the only way to succeed in this space is to be a voracious, continuous learner. Otherwise, you get left in the dust. So that's one thing, yeah, that I continue to invest in. And I've invested in tons of coaching. Like I've had all kinds of different coaches over the years support me because as a solopreneur, you can get stuck. And, in the coaching profession, they say, don't hire a coach who doesn't have their own coach.
And are there any practices that help you keep you grounded, like just on a day-to-day kind of basis that kind of help you stay grounded?
Yeah, this came up the other day. I said to my husband, wow, I just need to remember that the best routine for me in the morning, well, I have to have my quiet cup of coffee, but then to go move my body or exercise or challenge, like get those endorphins going. And then I go in, then it's the get ready for the day routine in the shower and all of that. And I think like my best ideas come when I've done those 3 steps, like quiet coffee, move my body. Then it's like that unconscious or subconscious thinking just surfaces. Like, do you get your best ideas when you're drying your hair or in the shower, that kind of thing?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Or just, walking. Like for me, it's when I go for walks with my dog. I mean, that's kind of, when I don't have my earbuds in or, like I'm just kind of quiet, just, in the sounds of nature and stuff like that. I mean, that's kind of what inspires me.
This is another thing I'm so aware of at this stage is also just really taking care of my health and eat really cleanly, less alcohol, the better, like all of those things. And I think I just used to take all of that for granted. And now I really see when I'm looking after myself physically, my mental clarity is so much better. So that I think at this stage of life is an important conversation as well.
So in terms of, say you're having somebody who's quite feeling quite stuck or afraid to pivot because you help people women in particular in times of transition and transformation. What would you like? What's your kind of advice you would give to somebody who's feeling stuck?
Now you've got me thinking about a few clients who've taken on some either, new roles or left traditional roles to start a business on their own, or sort of pursue kind of moving up in an organization. And I think that the main theme, and again, this would definitely be informed by my work with Brené's research and being in shame and vulnerability conversations for the last 5 years, I really see. So shame is that emotion we all experience of not feeling good enough. And so I often will, and I mean, people don't want to talk about shame. They're like, ooh, that's a scary word and a scary concept. But when we kind of understand our shame stories and again, deconstruct them and challenge them, that can really free us from the I'm not good enough or I'm not worthy or I don't deserve this. So that's where shame can get in our way. And then the vulnerability piece that we've already talked about is, I think when people say they're looking for confidence or courage, I think sometimes we're looking for comfort. And I normalize the idea that, oh, this is never going to be comfortable because it's inherently vulnerable. You're taking a risk, you're putting yourself out there. It will be uncomfortable. So the journey becomes about being comfortable with the discomfort of vulnerability and courage, and being okay with moving through that. One of my favorite sayings is if you wait until you're ready, you've waited too long.
Yeah, because when are you ever ready? You just have to embrace it and also release, and that's where you talk about these things and get them out of their body and release it. So in terms of your vision, I know you've got big visions, you're rebranding and you're what's the next evolution? Just talk more about that and kind of where you see things growing in your business.
The vision is to really unlock the potential of women in leadership and life, however that manifests for them. And I'm just imagining a community of women who are lifting each other up. And one thing I see happening through the work I'm doing is that women are like, oh, I want to host my own conversations and I want to build community in my city. And I just imagine that, we're starting to have like this kind of conversation with midlife women so they don't feel isolated and alone. So I feel like I'm also, developing leaders who also want to have this conversation. So that's part of the vision. The scary part of it all is I think I've spent 13 years hiding in my own business. I had Inspired Results Group, but I've had a team. It's very much like, oh, yeah, I'm the leader of it, but I'm not really visible in it. And this new rebrand is about truly stepping into my own visibility. And DianeLloyd.com as the brand, which is, even as I say it, I could tell I'm a little sweaty, like, oh, here we go, like no more hiding. And so working with you has really helped. And so I see it's going to be more of a personal professional brand, not just leadership development for your organization, because I do want to bring more personal conversations into the work that I do. And so I'm excited about that. So a little more Diane within the business branding.
Well, and that just kind of segues perfectly with our personal branding shoot we did with you. I'm super excited because we've got so many amazing photos and you really came through. I see more of you, like just through the photos and getting to know you. So can you share a little bit about, the process, like what did it bring up for you and how has it impacted?
A thorough process leading up to it is like a branding exercise in and of itself, which is really unique. I mean, I've done several photo shoots over the years. I've never worked with a photographer who actually was so curious about the brand that I'm building and how I wanted to be reflected in that branding. So it was very helpful to just the whole business building process for sure.
Right.
And then the shoot itself was, I'm actually astounded at how much we did in one day in terms of outfit changes and getting prepared, makeup, and like all that fun part about getting to feel like I'm at my best. And then you did, it's awkward to have your picture taken over and over and over again, but you made it fun and encouraging. And looking through the gallery, I was, as you know, I had a hard time narrowing down the images because you bring us to life in such a beautiful way that you kind of want to hold on to that.
Well, I had a blast, of course, photographing you. So that's why it's hard for me to not take so many photos. But, but I mean, I want to make sure that we get, a good variety and that you're feeling comfortable and energized and all those things. So,
I think when I look at those images, and now that I've looked at them a lot, I think, but it still looks like me. Like it still feels like this authentic version of me. And some photography, like I really find it hard when you sort of see someone's picture and then you meet them and there's no alignment between how they actually show up. And I'm hoping that we've got alignment with these photos. Like, I feel like, oh yeah, that's me.
That is probably my first and foremost consideration. And that's why we do a lot of the work on the front end, because I want to get to know you. I pay attention, when I'm talking to you in the preliminary stages before the photo shoot, and during the photo shoot, but like just, your facial expressions. When do you light up? You need to get to know your client. You need to know who they are and what they do and why they do it. And, pay attention to all the little nuances. And then, doing your best to create that energy of exchange during the photo shoot so that they feel comfortable and that they're, you're admitting your best self. And there's so much involved.
What you just shared there, Linda, is such an example of, like, you're taking a lot of your uniqueness for granted. Like, oh, everyone should do this. No, this is how you do it. This is what makes Linda Mackey such an outstanding photographer, because you do care, you spend that extra time, and that's, to you, that makes sense. And that's the only way to do it. But that's not how everybody does it. That's, I think, why this experience felt so different for me. And at this critical time of like launching this new path for me, I'm so glad that Lindsay recommended you and that we could connect, because I really can't imagine going through this journey with a different photographer. I know what caught my eye with your intro is being a change maker. And I think women are very generous. And part of what I'm hoping to do with this new brand is to build philanthropy into the brand. And so I've got 3 organizations, women's charities identified. So 5% of all my revenue is going to funnel into those charities. And I think if I can make that strategic philanthropy visible through my business as well, it will inspire other women to be philanthropic. That was my career before coaching, was fundraising and supporting nonprofit organizations. So it's exciting to now really integrate it.
This is all to inspire people. And that's why I'm doing the podcast, is because I noticed over the years, so many people like yourself, they're running, successful businesses and doing what they love, but they're also making a difference, whether it's through their business, in addition to their business, or, giving back through philanthropy, like you're doing for different organizations. That's kind of was really inspiring to me. And I think it's important to talk about it and share with the world. Thank you so much for chatting today. I mean, I know we're going to have more conversations in the future, but thank you for sharing your journey and insights.
Take care.